I understand that today this summit will honor 10 mid-career women who have excelled, and one incredible female leader who has committed her entire career really to impact in the clean energy and climate space. So first I will add my congratulations to all the award winners in the room, and then I'll spend a little special time on the one incredible female. We're going to turn that into like an acronym or something. One incredible female. Okay, we'll work on it a little. That's where you start. So, it is my honor, truly my honor, to present the first award of this year's symposium, and it really is a big one. It is the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I am thrilled to present this award to someone that I have known and worked with for many, many years, mostly in different agencies, but again, when you're working together on an issue like what we're working on, you really are working on these things together. So, many years, and really Gina is someone who's broken down barriers across many different sectors and truly lives her life as a leader in everything that she does. So I guess I should say her full name. It's Gina McCarthy, not just Gina, yeah, Gina McCarthy, just Gina. The Lifetime Achievement Award. So just a little bit on Gina. She has spent her life and career working to advance environmental protection and really meaningful action on climate change in a whole variety of very important positions. As the commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection, she developed the first regional policy to trade carbon credits to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from power plants. As the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency under President Obama, she led historic progress to achieve ambitious public health and environmental protection goals and oversaw the creation of the Clean Power Plan. And then most recently, she served as the first ever White House National Climate Advisor, and her leadership brought about the most aggressive action on climate in U.S. history, creating jobs and driving clean energy in innovation and investments, while also helping set some of the strictest greenhouse gas emission targets the country ever had of 50 to 52% reduction below 2005 levels by 2030. So now Gina is the co-chair of America is All In, because she didn't stop. It's a coalition of leaders supporting climate action, where she serves as a strategic advisor to support cities, states, businesses, and institutions to scale climate action across the country. So it really is an amazing delight to be here and be able to provide this award to Gina, the Lifetime Achievement Award. And then after this, Gina will share some of her remarks in a keynote address. So please join me in congratulating Gina for this year's C3E Lifetime Achievement Award.
I really appreciate the kind introduction, and Kathleen, you've been just a tremendous factor in and of yourself. It's you really during your time helped. You and Maria created and blossomed the Energy Star program in a way that was just totally amazing. Talk about greenhouse gas reductions in a really creative way. And you've done such an incredible job at DOE. You're just an amazing public servant, and that's the highest praise that I can give to anybody. And so thank you for everything that you've been doing. But before you leave, I thought I'd just give a little anecdote of some fun you've had in your life during government. Look at her eyes. I can't let you go without it, because Kathleen was actually held hostage once for hours in a congressional hearing where about 19 gentlemen, who I say that with tongue in cheek, seemed to find low-flow toilets un-American. In fact, I think they thought they could even be Parisian or something like that. And through it all, it was I think the video can still be found. You have to look it up. Hours and hours of debate about low-flow toilets. And Kathleen never cracked a smile. Never let something come out of her mouth that was anything even close to a giggle. And everybody in Washington, D.C. was watching this. After about 10 minutes, everybody was calling everybody going, look at what's on C-SPAN, look what's on C-SPAN. And we're just waiting for you to smile, and you never smile, damn it. And it was absolutely hysterical. But it just is the epitome of what you need to do when you're in government. You need to let these things play out, as silly and stupid as that discussion was. The anger about less water when you flush a toilet is exactly what Congress can get wrapped up in. And so it is amazing. And really, it's just, you're such a steady character. I myself could not have done that. I would have been answering with some very quippy things, like we need to flush this out a little bit more. Anyways, I'll let that go. But it's great. And honestly, I just can't thank all of you enough for this Lifetime Award. It is really an incredible honor, mostly because I looked at all the women who had been recognized before me. All of these women are just amazing. You know, my Shiro and my friend Lisa Jackson, she was one of them, and she was President Obama's EPA administrator during her first term. And it was Lisa, actually, who called and asked me to be the AA for air. And then she called back later and she said, do you really need to have air because other people want it? I'm saying, God damn it, I have air or nothing. She said, okay, Gina, no problem. Yeah, oh, God help us. But I'll always be forever grateful to Lisa, and she is really a class act. I got a chance to spend some time with her at New York Climate Week, which was crazy. But when I look back at really my time at EPA, there are a whole bunch of people that I just have to recognize. I think about my day one experience, the first time I was meeting President Obama in the White House. And you have to meet before you get these jobs and the appointment. And I had just finished eating a salad. And I went and I'm waiting outside the door to the Oval Office, and right next to me is this big Secret Service guy. They're always around. And I thought that I had parsley stuck in between my teeth. I was obsessed about this. I said, what if I go into the Oval Office and give it a big smile and you see all these little green things? So I'm sitting there saying to myself, I got to ask this guy if I have green stuff in my teeth. So I was just about to tap him on his shoulder and realize that there's like a gun under his shoulder. And I just went with it, and everything turned all right. I got the job done. But it's the kind of thing you look back at and think, what an experience that you have in the White House. It's just incredible. And then we sort of moved on, and thankfully, I had a great job working in the administration as the AA, but honestly, when I was appointed as the 13th administrator of EPA, some people might say that 13 is unlucky. It is like my favorite number ever. Look, I have to give another shout out also to my good friend Mary Nichols, who was also, not too recently, but recently recognized. Mary really taught me the ropes when it came to clean cars. I mean, she knew everything. And she also worked with this kind of grace and dignity that absolutely drove the car companies crazy. And I tried to emulate that with everybody I came across because it used to tick them off, and she won every time. It was amazing. And I owe a huge debt of gratitude, actually, to Carol Browner and to my friend Jody Freeman, who really led the charge on clean cars for the Obama administration, and Heather Zeichel, who was a crazy woman in the White House, who was really responsible, actually, for my becoming EPA administrator. She drove President Biden crazy until he said yes. And she really orchestrated the delivery of President Obama's climate plan, which, if you remember, he stood out in 90-degree weather that actually melted the teleprompter. And still, he flawlessly gave his speech. And it was amazingly powerful. And women like Janet McCabe, who worked with me at EPA and is now the deputy administrator, she is, in her own just quiet and deliberate way, one of the strongest, smartest, and most caring individuals that I have ever come across. And my other friend is Laura Vaught. I don't know if any of you know Laura Vaught. It's not a name you would normally hear, but she was the person who prepped me whenever I went to the Hill for congressional hearings. And believe me, I went more times than anyone else in the administration. It was so much fun. I just kept putting my hand out and saying, "You want another one? I can do another one." But she always kept me so laser focused at hearings with the absolute goal of saying absolutely nothing new, answering nothing, and having no news after. And 90% of the time that worked. You know, they left shaking your hand and I knew I had said nothing. It was great. I got so good at it. You know, and then one day I was doing a hearing and I heard this real commotion behind me. I didn't know what it was, but neither she nor I moved and looked backwards because you just don't. If someone's talking to you, you stay focused, and I did. And it was only the next day when I looked in the newspaper and opened it up, and there she and I were, with about 50 people with tin foil hats on their heads. It was awesome. I'm like, we missed the whole thing. I have no idea what they were doing or why those tin hats were on there, but it was the coolest thing ever. And look, prior to my time at EPA, you mentioned Jody Rell. Governor Jody Rell was one of my sheroes, without question, when I was in Connecticut. Jody Rell was the lieutenant governor at a time when the governor went to jail. She took over. And in Massachusetts, I never would have been appointed commissioner of DEP or EOEA in Massachusetts because they just don't. It was never going to happen, and only political people get there. And she hired me, and I had such respect for her. And Kathleen, you mentioned the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. It was amazing to me because she was a woman who didn't want to be queen, who didn't want to be king. She let me run with the regional greenhouse gas emissions, and then all of a sudden, right before we were all going to sign, you had the governor in Massachusetts, you had the governor of Rhode Island drop out, and without Connecticut, it would not have gone forward. And she was unabashed in moving it forward. She was just a terrific human being. She was just a stand-up woman, and I'll never forget her for her ability to stand by me, and it was wonderful. Look, during my 20 years in Massachusetts, there's a lot of people to give, kudos to and thanks to for this lifelong career of mine. Their friendship and their guidance meant the world to me. I don't know if folks remember Sue Tierney. She's still around, so you better still remember her. Sue Tierney was one of my absolute heroes. She was EOEA administrator when I came in, and Sue is just a powerful advocate in the smartest, most well-structured way. You would never know that Sue Tierney was behind writing data and analytics that allowed EPA to actually justify many, many rulemakings because she went to work when she saw we were being attacked. She never needed to be asked. She just went for it, and it was amazing. And I want to mention one more thing, and that is that there are mentors and there are mentees, and I've found in my life that they're indistinguishable from one another. Because if you have a mentee, you realize quickly how much they know and their view of things. And soon they're telling you what you need to know and what you need to do. And I think Sonia Hamill is my best example of somebody just like that. Sonia's been pretty ill of late, but her spirits are terrific. She has all of her friends hanging around her, which are many. But she started me on climate change well before I actually wanted to do anything about it, because I was busy doing environmental work. And she just forced it. She kept talking to me and sitting down. And as a result of that, we made tremendous progress, even beginning in Massachusetts. And I'll never forget how much she actually spent time learning and learning and learning about this issue, including with Gore and everybody else. And so it's wonderful to have had this journey. But honestly, probably the biggest person I owe this to is an 80-year-old woman who was a chain cigarette smoker when I got my first job as health agent in the town of Canton. She was the most amazing human being. She knew everybody in town, but what she realized and kept telling me was, this is about serving people. This wasn't a job where I could get angry or frustrated. I had to just keep moving forward and pull up my big girl pants and keep going. And that's what she kept telling me. I loved this woman. She taught me the value of public service and the fact that I was a vehicle for doing good. I was not the person to give credit to. And she was wonderful. So these mentees have meant the world to me, and as does this Lifetime Achievement Award. And the only thing I will tell you is that I don't intend this lifetime to be this short. So I tend to come back 20 years from now, so you can give me another one for the next 20. Thanks very much.